everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving into one of the biggest questions in the entire tech world. How do we actually build better software faster? To figure that out, we're going to break down a really powerful framework that you might have heard of called Dora Metrics. Welcome to Inspire the Next Mind by Fazuz.ai. All right, so let's set the stage. I bet every single software team on the planet has felt this pressure. You've got this push to ship new features like yesterday, but you also have this absolute need to keep the system stable and reliable. It always feels like this constant battle, a real tug of war, you know? So let me just ask you point blank. Does this sound familiar? Is your team constantly having to make that choice, slowing down to make sure everything's perfect, or just pushing out code and kind of crossing your fingers? It's a dilemma that can really define a team's entire vibe, and honestly, its performance. But what if that whole choice was just a myth? What if you didn't have to choose? Well, this is where Dora comes into the picture. It's this framework, born from years and years of solid research, and it gives us a kind of compass, a guide, with 4 key metrics to lead us out of this dilemma and towards what they call elite performance. So what are these 4 keys? Well, at their heart, they are way more than just numbers on a dashboard. They're these specific software delivery metrics that do something pretty incredible. They can actually predict better business outcomes and the well-being and happiness of the people on your teams. You can almost think of them like vital signs, not just for your product, but for your people too. Now, to really get a handle on these 4 keys, it helps to think of them as 2 sides of the very same coin. On one side, you've got throughput, which is all about your team's velocity, how fast you're going. And on the other side, you've got stability, which is all about the quality and reliability of the stuff you deliver. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. It's time to break down exactly what we're measuring within those 2 categories so we can build a complete picture of how a team is really doing. This table lays it all out beautifully. So for throughput or speed, we're measuring change lead time. That's basically the time it takes for code to get from a developer's brain into production. And deployment frequency, which is super simple. It's just how often you release. Then for stability, we track change fail percentage. So what percentage of your deployments end up causing a problem for your users? And failed deployment recovery time. When something does go wrong, how fast can you fix it and get things back to normal? It's the mix of all 4 of these that gives you that truly complete view. Okay, so we've got 2 metrics for speed and 2 for stability. And this brings us right back to our original question and to the absolute game-changing insight that comes out of all the Dora research. Right, the assumption has always been that you have to pick one. You can be fast or you can be stable, but you can't possibly have both. But is that actually true? Is that how it really works? And boom, this quote just nails it. According to modern thinking on this, the choice isn't really between fast and stable. The real choice, the one we're all actually making, is between getting better and faster or getting worse and slower. Whoa, that's a huge shift in how we think about this stuff. This right here is the whole point. Dora's data proves that the absolute best, highest performing teams, they don't trade speed for stability. They're amazing at both. So how? How is that possible? Well, they work in really small, manageable batches. Think about it. Frequent deployments with short lead times are just naturally less risky. And when a failure does happen, it's way easier to find and fix it quickly. Speed and stability aren't fighting each other. They actually make each other possible. I mean, that is just so empowering, right? Knowing this, we can stop having those pointless arguments about trade-offs and start actually focusing on getting better. So, how do you do it? How do you and your team actually start this journey? Let's turn all this theory into something you can actually practice. First things first, let's talk about what not to do. Definitely avoid making these metrics your team's goal, because people will just find ways to game the numbers. Don't compare completely different teams. That's not helpful. Don't create these weird silos where one team owns speed and another owns quality. And remember, the whole point of this is collaboration and improvement, not some kind of interval competition. So what should you do instead? It actually starts pretty simple. First, just set a baseline. Figure out where you are today. Then, get the team in a room and talk about the friction points. What's slowing you down? What's causing problems? Then, as a whole team, commit to tackling just one of those things. Create a plan, go do the work, and then check back in to see how you're doing. It's this continuous loop of learning and getting better piece by piece. And really, that's the thought I want to leave you with. Dora metrics aren't just about measuring stuff. They're a tool to start conversations and to drive real, tangible improvements. So take a second and think about your own team, your own process. What's that one friction point, that one bottleneck that if you could just improve it, would start moving all four of these metrics in the right direction? Thanks for tuning in.